welcome to My Voices Have Tourette's, and that's why we're going to have a KózýKvöld. My name is Dan Zara, and let's get started here. So today's episode is brought to you by Gamesla Studio, where we are recording, The Secret Cellar, Iceland's first and only comedy club, and Smári's Volcano Sauces, the greatest hot sauces I've ever had in my entire life. I feel like the more and more I do this, I start sounding like a transatlantic guy from old TV movies. Like, hello everybody, welcome to the show. But anyway, I am here with one of my very dear friends. I've known her for quite a number of years now, and she just started a new business called KózýKvöld, which we'll talk all about. But let's welcome Silvia.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good.
Excellent.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You know, I'm feeling good. I mean, it's so cozy. You know.
Yeah.
We're drinking champagne.
We are. Well, Cava actually.
Cava. Oh, sorry. I like. It's like. Well. I have this OCD thing. When someone cheers with me, I have to take a sip.
Well, good luck.
It is, but no, it's. I love the thing about like with with champagne. It can't be called champagne unless it's from Champagne in France, and it's like with tequila's only from Tequila, Mexico, and you know, hipsters are only from Who Cares About Them. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to start this off actually by talking about something we were talking about earlier, because I got all like, we had like kind of like this big conversation that could have been even bigger. So I'm going to make it bigger. Was we were talking about houses.
Yes.
We were talking about our future homes and how like, you know, what we would have in them.
Well, a 70s conversation pit for sure.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, of course, I would want. I just want something, you know, relatively modest. You know, I'm talking just 2 home movie theaters.
Yeah.
You know, a modest 10-car garage. Nothing more. No, nothing more. You don't need more than 10 cars. I mean,
you really don't. But the hidden passage, definitely, in the bookshelf.
Oh, it has to. You have to have at least one bookshelf door.
Yes.
Well, one bookshelf door. It doesn't even have to be a bookshelf door. It could be anything secret passagey. I mean, anything that H.H. Holmes would have had in his murder castle, basically.
Basically, yeah.
For all you serial killer fans out there. But yeah, I no, but in all honesty, I think the best homes are the ones where you at least use every room in the house. You know, whether it's small, whether it's big.
Definitely.
Just, you know, using every home.
Just maximize the space.
Home. Maximize the space, yeah.
Lighting is very important.
Lighting is very important. What kind of specific lighting would you have? Well,
daylight would be nice. But.
Daylight. I was going to say, keep in mind, this is not My Voices Have After Hours. But what, yeah, would you have any like specific lighting or anything specific about the home?
Well, I mean, I've always wanted a den, just basically the size of the house underneath ground. No,
the whole house, but underneath the house.
Definitely. With, you know, the we were talking about the wet bar and wood paneling and just a little home theater down there. Just something cozy, right?
Yeah. A cozy for your quilt. But that made no sense. Yeah, I love the like the conversation pits that they used to have in the 70s. Yeah. Like those.
Oh yeah.
like I mean, who would have thought that the best way to form a conversation, cut out the floor a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just cut it out a little bit.
And put some fire in the middle.
A fire in the middle.
Fire pit.
Put just a circular bench around it.
Yes.
Sit, have your Cava, no champagne. No. Just have your Cava, and you're good to go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm all about it.
But you actually just moved to Iceland. Yeah,
yes.
You did. Nick, who was on the last episode, you just moved. You moved here from Portland, Oregon.
Yes, I did, by way of California, which I'm originally from.
Because we all met in L.A.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And but why the move to Iceland?
Well,
you got tired of English.
I mean,
so you moved somewhere with more English.
Well, I mean, for many reasons. I guess you could say 2020 was a pretty transformative year, and
it was something
difficult, definitely. It was something I've always wanted to do since the first time I came here in 2014.
Yeah,
I was dating my husband now, and I just fell in love with the place, and I love how basically how small it is. I mean, like not to downplay. It's beautiful. It's majestic. It's very. Compared to Los Angeles, which has more people than Sweden, basically, it's nice to feel that getting around isn't as difficult, and just feeling like you're in fresh air and fresh water and things like that people typically take for granted here, I guess.
Yeah, it's like going from a place with like 2 million people or so to a place where you have a parking lot size amount of people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean by
But I will say though, because I mean, like a lot of comparisons happen when it comes to Iceland, because people want to compare it to something, especially Icelanders who don't know anything necessarily to compare it to or to compare with it. Is I actually think it's a lot like LA.
Okay.
I think it's a lot like LA, just on a smaller scale. So like, because like, for example, with entertainment, I mean, it's like, if you're a comedian, every comedian in Iceland knows each other.
It's wonderful.
So it's like being in the industry in LA, how, once you get into the industry, I mean, you basically know everyone, or you meet everyone, or it's easier to meet everyone. And like everyone goes to, everyone goes to LA for a specific reason. They go to be big in something. Whereas, everyone moves to Iceland to isolate themselves from everyone.
Yes. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Like, forget everyone. I'm going to Iceland.
I'm retiring in Iceland. No, not really. But yeah, it was definitely a decision that it was just time. It was time to move, because my husband's Icelandic. So we moved here together, and I don't regret it. That's for sure. There's still a lot to be done because it's only been a month and a half or so. Yeah. But I couldn't say that I've been any happier.
Yeah.
Especially recently.
Well, no married couple moves to Iceland unless one of them is Icelandic. It's not like they're just like, you know what, we could go for a change of pace. How are you thinking about that Iceland place? I heard it's just a jump and a skip away, but let's go for it.
Yeah.
I like though. I mean, but I mean, Iceland, it's not as bad as it gets the rep for. I mean, like we do joke, but of course, and everyone goes, Iceland must be cold. But I mean, we're still waiting for winter, kind of.
Well, this year we got lucky, very mild. I mean, I was driving around, was it Thingvellir?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I mean, just the sun was out with the clouds, so it was just that perfect lighting.
Right.
But you're from Michigan, so I imagine, that it's Minnesota, Michigan, these places, they get pretty cold too.
I was waiting for this to happen. Because so your husband Jökull, he always joked with me, because I used to do this podcast for like 3 years called Entertainment Drive-Thru, and I never noticed this, but apparently in like almost every episode I would have one part where I'd go, so I'm from Michigan, and in Michigan, so like before you got here, I was just like in my head going, I bet he told her. I bet he told her at some point, mentioned that he's from Michigan, and it was probably just a coincidence.
It's just completely a coincidence. The one episode you decide not to say it.
I know. Right?
I have to bring it up.
Well, actually, no. It's changed to now me being like, so I'm from LA.
No, right? No, yeah. It's. I mean, LA's got. It's almost. When I go back, it's overwhelming, is what it is. It's just it's massive, and it's one
so different
city.
now.
Yeah, one city just after the other, and it's LA Metro. I always consider.
Yeah.
Greater Los Angeles, LA County, and it's. I mean, I grew up there. I've met my husband there. Everything went well for me there, but I would say that it's not really a peaceful place, if that makes any sense.
It can be.
It can be. It's just very competitive if you do want to make it in LA.
It's a very peaceful place unless you get the app that tells you where all the crimes have been committed.
Oh, and all the pedophiles.
Have you seen that app?
God.
It's ridiculous. I remember, I got it when I was in LA, because my friends were talking about it, and we were just like, well, let's check it out. And then I go and I'm like,
red dot.
Yeah, I'm like,
everywhere.
I am living in the wrong place.
Yeah, no, Hollywood. It's not really safe.
No, but they don't have an app for that here. It's just there's a problem. We call their mother.
Yeah, that simplicity. It's wonderful.
Simplicity. It's just a beautiful thing, keeping it nice and calm, relaxed.
Exactly.
It is a good place to retire. I guess that's a
start a family,
or start a family, or start a stand-up career, because who's going to listen to you anyway?
I do.
Oh, well, thank you. But you ended up moving to Portland.
Yes, I did for work. I was, I thought that would be a great idea. And, Portland, Oregon is beautiful. The evergreen trees and it's hard to explain until you go there, but it's also got that vibe of it being just a lot smaller than LA.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out for me. I felt very isolated there. we didn't have too many friends or like basically no family except for my husband's parents who moved out there. And I mean, beautiful place. It didn't work out for us. So we're just starting a new chapter after that chapter. It's only 2 years ago, but it's been moving pretty quickly.
But I've noticed this is how everyone describes Portland, Oregon, because it's always like, how was Portland, Oregon? Well, there were trees.
Yeah. No,
it was a nice place to live.
It was beautiful.
Well, they've got good beer.
Yeah, no, microbreweries everywhere. I mean, that is something I do miss is all the beer and the cider too.
Well, to be fair, Iceland has a lot of great beer if you have the money to afford it.
Exactly. If you can find the job and the way to settle.
You got people in Iceland getting jobs just to afford alcohol. I mean, no one's getting jobs just to afford a home or afford a family. No, it's just for the pricey things in life.
Right. Well, the good things in life.
The good things in life, the fun things in life.
Yeah.
But let's get to talking about you, which we have not done yet at all.
Please, let's not.
No, but you did just start a business called KózýKvöld.
Yes, KózýKvöld, and it's we wanted to center around baby blankets, but I think we're expanding into just overall this microfiber plush fabric of just that idea of just staying home, reading a book. That cozy, the whole cozy. Well, it was a play on cozy quilts.
Yeah.
So we thought KózýKvöld would be really cute since it's just distinctly Icelandic. The KózýKvöld.
Well, that is actually really Icelandic in the sense that Icelanders can't really pronounce V's. like for those of you who don't know. Yeah. Well, first of all, we should mention KózýKvöld means like cozy night.
Yes.
And
cozy night in.
Right, but of course, quilt. But the funny thing, so Icelanders pronounce V's like W's.
Oh,
so they would actually say cozy quilt.
Yeah, they would also say American Wisa, which is wonderful.
I always love joking about the fact that Icelanders get all tough and they're just like, we came from Vikings, we got Icelandic Vikings, and I'm just like, does the Whittle Viking want to say something?
Oh, it's so cute.
They sound adorable. Like they get all tough, but then they get a V thrown at them and they just become like a toddler.
How do you say W in Icelandic? I guess like double voff or something.
Double voff.
I don't remember.
You know what? I don't even care how it is. We're gonna go with double voff.
I know.
That almost sounds like more like a breakfast pastry. Like, what'd you have for breakfast today? I had a couple double voffs and a glass of milk. Keeping it cozy.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you got the cozy part from the fact that Icelanders think everything is cozy.
Cozy.
Yeah. Þetta bara cozy bara. Yeah. Like not cozy. Yeah.
I love it.
They think everything is cozy. I wonder if it came from like one Icelander was just taking the piss out of everyone and saying it ironically. Like they didn't think anything was cozy, but they were just like, yeah, this is real cozy, and it just caught on.
Yeah.
And now everyone just goes everywhere and they're like, yeah, this is so cozy. And you never know if they actually mean it or not. Because they always sound a little bit like they don't mean it.
A little like they're questioning the coziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I think they genuinely mean it. It's part of the national vibe, I guess.
I mean, everything has to be cozy or they can't enjoy it.
Exactly.
They can't just go somewhere and be like, this is adequate.
Yeah. Mediocre.
It's mediocre. But wait, so what? Whoa! So you're making? I mean, you started with like blankets, and it's mostly for babies.
Well, we wanted to children's blankets. We have also adult throws. We call them throws because they're not quite the size of a comforter, but we're just importing them from Los Angeles, and we want to get a team of like, I don't know how to explain, like sewers or people to make them out here so that we can control the quality of the product. But
right.
We're working on it. It's a small business right now. We're actually on social, so you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And we went to the Christmas market. Some of you might have seen us there. And we want to expand more online, I guess, until we can get into pop-up stores, which is a thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually becoming very popular.
Yeah, definitely.
Stores just popping up like randomly.
Exactly.
I don't know. I've noticed even like, I mean, at like the mall, they'll have like a space specifically for a pop-up store. I mean, that's something I'd never seen Not like until the past couple of years. Yeah. Well, yeah, but no, just like a storefront. I mean, it'll be empty, and then they'll have like like you just rent it for like a day or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, coming from Portland, I really like that whole the pop-up vibe, I guess. Also the food trucks too. I
think those trees are and pop-up beer and
yeah, pop-up business everywhere. That's the thing. It's like with COVID and this whole nightmare going on right now. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with business and how we do business and how we shop.
Well, I bet you're pretty glad to be in Iceland also, because Jukit was telling me that the one time that you guys actually ended up getting COVID was when you went from Portland back to LA for like one day.
Oh yeah, and we 3 days before our flight we tested positive, and of course out there you have to wait sometimes up to 48 hours or longer for a result, and I just knew we had it, and we were just self-isolating, and bam, we got it. Just like confirming that when we went to LA, pretty much I think is when we brought it back. But yeah, no, it's a hot spot out there. I remember last time I heard 1 in 5 people were testing positive. They have the entire Dodger Stadium just devoted to vaccinations now, which was a testing site, but now with the vaccine, they're trying to roll those out, but there's a lot of issues with that everywhere, I guess.
Do you think it's because no one has the KózýKvöld blankets or jackets yet?
Well, that would be nice, right?
No, imagine if that was the issue. If this whole thing didn't start because of a bat. It all started because no one had your product.
Yeah, and they didn't stay home.
Actually, if you think about statistics, how many people have your product and have COVID?
Well, that's a good statistic I guess. I don't know, but perhaps none, because Iceland's a green.
See, so country. Well, see, that was the wrong answer. No one with your product has COVID. And you'll never see anyone with your product having COVID.
That's very accurate.
This is also illegal to say in Iceland because it's not necessarily accurate. You cannot advertise something that is not 100% accurate.
Well, that's true. Okay, it's accurate. It's 86%.
Right.
Accurate.
86% of the time it's accurate all the time. But I love, actually, it's a fun thing about Iceland because how beer brewers in the States will be like best beer in America, all that, and everyone's just okay with it. Right. In Iceland, that's illegal. You cannot say that you have the best of anything because it's not possible to prove that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I like that. I do. I'm not going to lie. No, they're not flaunting anything really. Just it is what it is. You might like it.
Yeah, you might like it, you might not, but no guarantees. We guarantee that you might have a good time. There's always these great ways of getting around it. Like Carlsberg, I think has possibly the best beer around, or something like that, or probably.
Okay.
I was thinking at one point with the comedy club, we were thinking of doing. We're pretty sure we have the best comedians in town.
Pretty sure.
Just because we have pretty sure means it's legal. Mm-hmm. But if we said we have the best comedy in town, even though we're the only comedy club in Iceland, I mean, we could have said we have the only comedians in town, and then people would still be like, well, yeah, but hey, only comedy club comes with the only comedians, the only real ones, that is.
Yeah.
That sounded like an attack. It was just a joke. For those of you in Mid-Eastland that are really pissed off at me right now, that's perfectly fine. I don't care. But I was going to ask, though, because with doing a product here as opposed to the States, because in the States, you can get basically anything with a call. I mean, you make a phone call, you can get anything you want, basically. Oh, yeah. But in Iceland, because of importing everything, it gets to be tough.
Yes, it does. So the disadvantage, I think, of having a business in the United States is that whole saying, it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And you are limited by... Also, you're constrained by the fact that you'll be self-employed, so you won't have health insurance.
Right.
And out here, it's the importing and the VAT and trying to find a reasonable retail price.
Yeah.
And that is definitely something we've been discovering since we imported our first 2 shipments. It's it's a challenge, but I am willing to take it. I want to be a business owner, and I think that's a lot of people's dreams. They want to be self-employed. They want to create something or provide a product or a service that that means something to them.
Well, it's empowering.
Exactly.
It's empowering to be able to say, I started this and like full on seeing it through and you know,
building something.
And as soon as you go bankrupt going, well, at least I tried,
exactly. You know. You know, bankruptcy isn't as terrifying as you would think.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But no, I only say this because of my quote unquote clothing company.
Viva Iceland.
Yeah, I have a clothing line. I'm like on all my bios. It's just like Dan Zarin. He was a musician. He's a comedian, comedy club co-owner. He has you know, the host of my voice after Tourette's. He also has his own clothing line, which was not successful. So don't ask about it.
You never know. You put it out there. You put some effort into it.
Yeah, you never know. I did make a sale like 2 weeks ago,
Oh, wow.
well, like randomly, and I was just like, where did this come from? I got a whole $2.
Oh, well, you know what? You put it out there. You just never know when it's going to come back.
Yeah, no, of course, but with the toughness of being in Iceland with the lack of resources, I mean, what are you making any changes to it based on location?
Well, I guess you could say I was fortunate enough to get the materials I need and the business knowledge from my father. So he's also, I mean, I'm a co-owner. Let's just face it. I couldn't do this without my husband. I couldn't do this without my family. So we're fortunate to have somebody, which is my father, that knows a lot about international shipping.
Okay.
But you know, this is a whole different ballgame with Iceland.
Oh yeah.
And the VAT, I mean, is 24%, and then, which is, I mean, I think high by even European standards. But it's difficult, I think, even as a consumer to find anything, I guess, for a deal. You could
right.
say. So even, you know, the alcohol, everything, I guess. You know, that's I would love to just import something as long as it sells. Right.
I just love the fact that like when they tag the word cheap on anything in Iceland, like there's a gas station here called Cheap Gas, and I'm like, come on, man, it still costs a mortgage and my 2 kids to be able to afford like a pump.
Yeah, well, we actually live out in Mosfellsbær, and I mean, it's gorgeous out there. It's a small town right outside of Reykjavik, but I've heard that it's pretty brutal renting out here in Reykjavik and trying to make ends meet, especially now. I mean, it's just difficult for everybody. I don't want to downplay that for anybody in Iceland, you know, trying to get by. But I will say, at least you're not getting COVID and experiencing this pandemic the way that some other places are. Well,
I will say though, I mean, to be fair, you know, like whenever someone asks me like, what's it like living in Iceland? I mean, everything is so expensive. I go, to be fair, you're paying for almost everything in taxes. Absolutely. So, I mean, yes, things are more expensive, but like, I mean, so for example, like the average rent is about $1,000 a month.
Okay.
In Reykjavik. So you're spending about $1,000, but like in LA, for example, then you would have health insurance, which gets added on. No, like it's an added pay.
Yep.
Here, that's covered in taxes. So you don't have to worry about that. You just work for it.
Yep.
Then you've got like, you know, the water bill, which here is nothing because we're surrounded by water. Then you got
wonderful.
And the heating bill, like that was so. Oh my goodness! I will tell you, I missed in LA. Like it was just blistering heat in the summertime, and I'd be like, I just want to turn on the air conditioning, but it's going to cost so much.
Yeah.
But here heating is cheap, and if it's too hot in the apartment, just open the window.
Just open a window.
That's air conditioning. We don't need air conditioning in Iceland. We just open the window, and Iceland goes, guys, I'll take care of this.
Right. Yeah. No. It's I personally I like the cold more than the heat. I feel like I can get warmer just by going inside and you know, like you said, the energy. That's all geothermal. It's just wonderful. It really is. I think that they really do get that. They understand the importance of environmental sustainability.
Well, they spoil us too. I mean, because like I noticed, I remember when I moved here, I was living in a home that had heating, like a heated floor in front of the toilet.
Oh yeah,
which I never knew I needed in my life
until you came here.
Until I lived there, and then I'm like, why would I ever need? And I'm sitting down, I'm just like, why would I ever need a heated floor? Oh, that's nice.
Exactly.
So it's like you guys used to have a bidet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah, we need one again. Yeah, now that I'm in Europe, I don't have one. That's interesting, but
That's the thing about these things. Like you always go, I don't need it. And then you get it and you're like, I'm never not having this again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Like the big thing here in Iceland was a bunch of my friends were getting like phone controlled light bulbs for their homes.
Yep.
And they just kept saying to me, they're like, Dan, you'll never not need them. I mean, these will be the best purchase you'll ever spend in your life.
Right.
And I haven't gotten them, but it's been on my mind ever since then.
If I may recommend, before you purchase an app controlled light bulb, you should get the LED lights for your television. Game changer.
LED lights for your television.
Yeah, for the back of your television. It's basically, I mean, it's as simple as putting even these adhesives, like
the lighting strips.
Yeah, lighting strips behind, and I mean, it just changes your whole film watching experience.
Let's talk about this for a second. So basically, what you're saying is it for like the atmosphere, or is that for like when you're plugging things into the back, you can see them, or is it just literally you plug them in and it's like you won the lottery? You sit back and you feel like $1 million.
It's an experience, basically.
An experience.
Yeah. So what happens is sometimes they're motion or color detected. So if you get those ones, every time, let's say like you're watching an action film and it explodes, it matches like the color of the explosion and it boom, and it just like radiates all the light from the back of your television. And there's just so many ways to control it, and that's also from your app. But I think that LED lights for your television, definitely those little strips.
I see. Yeah, these are all those things. Like you just once you use them, you're just like, I'm never going back.
Pretty much,
I'm never going back. It makes no sense to go back once you have them.
Yeah,
but then you don't get them, and it's like, oh well, I want them, but I also want to eat. So
yeah,
there's that too.
Well, yeah, there is. Food
first, then accessories. But and how long has KózýKvöld been going on now?
Well, we started the business, I guess, kind of planning it since summer of last year. But I mean, and not until we hit the ground running when we got here the first week of December. And then by the middle of December, we were at the Christmas market and we brought in our second shipment. Well, we brought some blankets with us and then we brought in a shipment. And I think what I've noticed is that the solid colors are selling more. So they're embossed, right? And just timeless, instead of putting prints on them and only saying that they're for children. A lot, the other thing too is that infant blankets is what we wanted to get. Is this, satin trim.
Yeah.
And, one side is the thicker pile fabric than the other, so it's softer, and then the print on the other side. But honestly, my dream is for this to take off well enough so that I can get Moomin licensing. I definitely.
There it is.
Yes, that's the dream. Definitely.
That's why you're in Iceland.
Absolutely.
It's just your ticket to Finland to get to the Moomins.
Not necessarily. It's just spreading the Moomin joy.
Spreading the Moomin joy. KózýKvöld. Spreading the Moomin joy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it gets to that. I mean, that is literally, I sat down and I was just kind of, I guess you could say like journaling or trying to manifest this abundance and success for the business. And that was definitely the goal. Was to get Moomin printed on microfiber plush blankets and selling them all over.
So it's not to make people happy. It's just to help the corporation that is Moomins.
Well, yeah, essentially. I mean, they're very ethical.
They're very ethical, as far as you know. I mean,
Oh, no. We don't say bad things about Moomin.
Fair enough. I am finished with that then. Oh. Even I feel bad about that one.
No.
But I thought of a brilliant idea though, and I just realized I wonder if this exists. And you might get on top of this if you can. Okay. So what about, because we were talking about like the heated floors and like for the cheap heating and stuff. Mm-hmm. What about heated like slippers that are like controlled? So depending on where you step, they turn on or off. So, like, if you can set it with your phone, so that when you're sitting at the toilet, your feet, the heat turns on.
The heat turns on in your slippers.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I mean, the fabric is very. I mean, unless it's sitting out in the cold, it's very warm and to begin with, especially for lining. I think I would rather make pajamas, to be honest. The Yola cat, right?
Yeah.
Put that, all over the pajamas.
10 Moomins on them.
Exactly.
Oh, only 10. We're keeping it modest.
Yeah, very
It's
modest.
like the 10-car garage I talked about in the beginning. Just keeping it modest.
Exactly.
Only 10 of them.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Moomin pajamas.
Those are already
dream.
out, I think. I mean, I'm not sure. I was just on the store putting things on the cart before I decided not to buy things. And then I was looking and I was like, I love the bath towels and I love the kitchen towels. And it's just adorable. There's these little, you got to go check it out. Moomin.
You gotta get Moomin pajamas with your glass of Cava, and your heated floor,
exactly,
with your 10-car garage.
Well, with the 70s conversation pit.
Oh, 70s conversation pit, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, everyone just sitting on the bench in Moomin outfits, be the best.
Definition of KózýKvöld.
Definition of KózýKvöld. That's your slogan. The definition of a KózýKvöld. But moving on now to a bit of a different topic here. But to anyone who wants to find out more about KózýKvöld, we'll do this in the end as well. But check them out online. You're on Facebook,
and Instagram for now. Yeah, we're trying to set up our online store, but for now, just reach out on Facebook. I think that's the best way. Just shoot us a message. We're very friendly.
Well, you have to be if you're trying to sell Moomin stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't hire, well, I don't know who they hire. I don't know them. But no, so you, to talk about, I guess what brought you to My Voices Have Tourette's here. So you are bipolar.
Yes.
Yeah, you have, and do you have bipolar 1, bipolar 2?
I have bipolar 1. I was diagnosed when I was 23, and right now I'm 30. What is it? I always round up. I'm 34. I'm 34 now.
You do the Icelandic thing. Well, when you're in your 30s, you're somehow in your 40s.
Yeah, basically, right.
Because you're in your 4th decade.
Oh, okay. There we go.
That's the Icelandic thing. When you're in your 30s, they celebrate you're in your 40s.
Okay.
I find it rude. I find it rude. I'm already starting to get like some slight bald spots. I'm like, I don't need to be in my 40s. but yeah. So, actually, real quick, because I got a question on someone sent us an email, and to those of you listening out, if you want to send us questions for our guests or topics to talk about, we love getting them. Just send them to info@mvhtshow.com, MVHT like My Voices Have Tourette's show.com. And this question I asked it in the last episode as well. Before you were diagnosed, because like me, you were diagnosed in your early 20s.
Yeah.
How did you cope with everything before you knew what it was?
Wow. Well, I definitely.
Or did you know anything was going on before then?
I guess you could say I always resonated with the idea of being manic depressive, but it was just an idea. It was abstract, and I definitely would cope by being alone. I really enjoyed the idea of just being a loner and doing my own thing and coming out of my shell whenever I felt like it. But the way I guess you could say I cope it is I have a strong social network and a family network. I mean, without my parents, and I would be on the streets. I'm not even kidding. It was actually my mother's idea for me to go to the hospital.
Really?
It was the toughest thing she ever had to do, she said. It's just to be like, I think we need to go to the hospital.
Did you get diagnosed after a manic episode?
I was diagnosed in the middle of a manic episode.
In the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Because that's typically the reason people who are bipolar get diagnosed is the manic episode. It's like the leading factor of it.
It really is. I guess you could say I thought I was schizophrenic at that point. When I went in, I thought, well, I mean, there's voices in my head, but they're not like there. They're just telling me things, and they're telling me what to do, and they're telling me, things about the world and that weren't real.
About the Moomins.
I didn't know about Moomin at the time, but definitely about things that make no sense. And I was so separate from reality that I was looking at myself in mirrors. To this day, actually, I can't have mirrors in my bedroom because I think I don't want that reminder.
Really?
Yeah, there's just something about your reflection. If you stare at it long enough when you're having a manic episode, it get pretty trippy.
Wow.
But I mean, talking to myself, it was just without going into details. It was a full blown manic episode, and however, instead of like over shopping or being promiscuous or all the ways that many people cope with that, I chose to be alone. I chose to be locked in my room, and I did not want to engage with anything in the outside world. So I thought, I guess I thought that it was divine or something talking to me that was triggering this. I mean, if you haven't been in a manic episode, there's just really nothing like it. And I'm not trying to romanticize this in any way. I actually dislike when people romanticize manic depression. It's like terrifying, and you can feel it. You can feel terror, but your chest is just full of energy. I don't know how to explain it. It's something. It makes you feel almost godly. I don't know. Yeah. And it's addicting.
That's like the common thing that we get a lot of times with people who experience manic episodes is that they like, because they get that feeling that their brain is moving at like 1,000 times a minute.
Yeah.
So they feel like they're getting smarter, they're getting better, they're getting stronger.
Definitely.
Yeah, basically superpowers. And but it is terrifying. I mean, because I've never had a manic episode. I have experienced and I say what may be because I haven't gotten a chance to really talk to a therapist or anyone about this, but I may have had like a hypomanic moment, because I was talking to a friend of mine who experiences them not all the time, but has experienced them, and they described it as being very similar. And with hypomania, I mean, it's your brain is just moving so quickly, but with that, as opposed to a manic episode, is where like a hypomanic episode, you're still with reality. With a manic episode, you might not still be with reality.
No, yeah, you're fractured in a way. It's almost like there's this disconnect between the way you see objective reality and the way you experience that internal interpretation of reality. And it's not something that I want to go through again, even though I have. Well, in 2020, I guess you could say I had a couple breakdowns. So it's important to know that when you're on certain medications, and by that I mean from my experience, mood stabilizers, you cannot stop taking them just immediately. Right. You have to wean yourself off of them, or you have to build it up in your blood system. So I decided, I was just hitting a depression, being unemployed, and I said, well, I don't need them. I need that extra boost, I guess you could say.
Right.
So I stopped taking them, and I was so afraid of going back to the hospital, but because that was my definition of giving up. Yeah. Of just like, okay, somebody take care of me. I don't want to take care of myself anymore. And then I said, no, you know what? I have too much to lose. I'm going to start taking my meds again. And I couldn't believe this. The second time I had a breakdown in 2020 was because I started birth control pills. Oh, okay. And those drove me bonkers, and I was taking my Lamictal.
Those can be scary, yeah.
It's for, they say that about bipolar. They say, you can only do so much for contraceptives because of the mood swings. Right. I didn't believe it. And that's the thing, when you're in the middle of this mania, it's like a trance. You're just like, no, I'm living for this. I'm here to experience this for myself and for the world, and you convince yourself such delusional things, right? And
your brain convinces you that that's reality,
that it is reality, and this is what's meant to be, and this is me and my life force, and this is me to my fullest potential. And if nobody wants to live with that, then fuck them, basically. So I got to that stage where I said, again, I had to keep myself in check. I said, what am I doing? I've been through this. Don't do this again. Right. And if it wasn't for the love I have for my husband and my family, I wouldn't, like I said, I don't know where I would be. And that's where I really feel for people, especially that don't have access to mental health care services. Like if you don't have people in your life that are willing to be there for you through these episodes and through your when you're at your worst. Yeah. I don't know. It's so easy to slip through the cracks.
Well, I think you mentioned the medication, and that is one of the scary things about bipolar as well, is that, because and I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's very common for people who are bipolar to start believing that their medication is not working.
Well,
even if it is working, they believe that it's not working anymore, so they stop taking it, and then they get vulnerable to an episode.
This is my experience with medication. I can't speak for everybody else, but my experience with it is that when it is working, you say, well, I don't need it then. I'm doing great. Like what, it's always this idea that it's a stain almost, because not just society, but also just growing up thinking mind over matter, right?
Right.
You're like, I don't need meds. Come on. I'm not like, this is me. Like I'm normal, right?
Right.
And you just stop taking because you feel stable. You feel good. You feel, like you don't need them. That you can you express yourself through art or through music or through writing or through nature,
things like that.
Things outside of yourself. You think that that's gonna help you more than seeing mental health, professionals. The thing is that I know that we're taking meds and seeing therapists, they work hand in hand, and they work
absolutely
most effectively together.
Yeah.
And that's what the struggle I've had, Dan, is believing, especially in the United States, where it's just expensive. Healthcare is expensive. And, you don't want to go see a therapist. You don't spend $60 to talk about your problems for an hour and be like, oh, well, I could have done that to a wall.
You know what I think is the scariest thing actually about the healthcare system in the States? And this is something that I don't think people really think about. And it gets laughed about and all of that stuff. But I literally knew, like, every one of my friends, when I lived in so you see, I'm from Michigan, and I knew it was going to happen at least once in this episode. No, we should just change this to episode 31. I'm from Michigan. No, but I remember, like before I moved from Michigan to LA, I was living in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and almost all of my friends in Kalamazoo, Michigan myself included, we were basically like, if it's not a heart attack, I'm not going to the hospital. But because of the fact that we were scared of how much it would cost.
Yeah.
And of course,
absolutely.
I did end up in the hospital a few times in Kalamazoo for some trigger warning reasons.
How was that ambulance bill, by the way?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. It was massive.
Exactly.
But the thing is though, like most of my friends, like even in the experiences that I had, where I literally thought I was dying, or in situations where I actually tried to, they wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have gone because they couldn't afford it.
Absolutely.
I mean, and just that thought of like I remember when I got hit by a car while walking when I lived in LA, and I just went to school. I was going to school at the time, and I just went, oh, well, I think I might have fucked up my arm, but I'm going to school anyway. And I went and I sat through the whole class and everything. I was playing guitar and everything. Yeah. And it's like, it's just in the States, when something happens, you just avoid it like no other.
No, yeah.
Because you don't want to pay for it. But in Iceland, I mean, I know everyone here is just like, oh, well, I think I stubbed my toe. I might as well go get it checked.
Well, yeah.
I can.
It's a different mentality out there. And I think people are starting to catch on that it would be funny if it wasn't a tragedy.
Yeah. It would. It would be.
It would be. It would be. It'd be a joke. This can't be real. Like there's people all over the world. They're like, oh, come on.
I mean, I got hit by a car while carrying a Subway sub, and I dropped it, and I lost my sub. Forget my arm. I lost my sub.
Damn. No, it's ridiculous. It really is. And I mean, we could have a whole episode just on.
Oh yeah.
On that, but coming here has definitely. Just the fact that I had to buy private health insurance for the first 6 months that I live here because
that is required.
It is required, yes. And you know how much that was? It was less than $300 for 6 months.
Because you have to, but it's because you have to buy into.
You have to buy into it.
It was like, I think it was like 9,000 a month, 7 or 9,000 krona a month,
right?
Which is like 65 to 86 bucks,
right?
A month.
Regardless of the opinions of whether healthcare should be subsidized or whether it should be controlled by the state, whatever. I mean, just affordable.
That's all we ask.
That's all anybody asks for, is that I don't have to skip my my life-saving medications just because I've heard things of people with their insulin, it dropping out of the fridge and their kid puts it back in the freezer and it ruins it. And they say, well, insurance goes, you can't get it now because you have to wait another 90 days. We gave you a 90-day supply of it. Yeah. And it's like, well, I'm going to die because of this accident, because of this mishap. Like it's tragedy.
Well, and I want to comment, before we get too close to the end here, I want to comment on the fact that, like, you were talking about like how people have like their alternate views on what to do other than medication,
right?
And like it has become kind of this big thing of like, don't trust medication, just go out in the nature. You just need to relax. You just need to do other things, because medication is just making you need more medication. It's like, well, some people genuinely need it,
absolutely,
to survive.
Absolutely.
And also some people need it so that they stay, like non-vulnerable to an episode, and Nick Jameson was saying in the last episode about how with bipolar, it's essential that people who are bipolar take medication because that's how they stay stable.
That's how you function. I mean, it's not, let's just face it. It's not about, thriving in life is about pursuing your spirituality or something greater than you, whatever it may be, whether it's through art or poetry. But then there's surviving.
Yeah.
So survival, it sometimes does require medication, and there's such a stigma with that. And it's also, it's sad that people who are medicated sometimes, and then they like me, people can't tell that I'm bipolar, and they kind of want to argue with me about it. Like, but do you really need that? I mean, why don't you just go, drink some wine and watercolor or whatever, and it's like, no, I mean,
wine and watercolor.
Watercolor painting. That's a thing. Go paint and drink some.
Oh, I thought you were saying drinking wine in the watercolor. I was like, what in the hell is that going to do other than make you sick?
No, but like
and maybe you need the medication because you're sick. Like, I mean, it's just a whole loop. We're just doing rotations, Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, art is therapy. Let's just put it that way.
It is. I mean, it is. But you still need therapy.
You need therapy and the medication. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I think it's fair to say though that there is a very powerful effect that the nature or art can have on people, but it's like that thing of saying that laughter is the best medication. And then there's that old joke. I mean, unless you have medication, then medication is the best medication.
Accurate.
It's the best way to put it, because at the end of the day, you have to do what heals you. I mean, you have to do what keeps you safe, because health always comes first.
Absolutely.
You can't put anything above health, because if you're not alive or you're not well, you can't do anything anyway.
Right.
So if medication is helping you, medication's helping you. Take the medication. If it's not, I mean, like there are so many scary stories about SSRIs.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you take an antidepressant and you have Tourette syndrome and get like what I had, where you get blackouts. I mean, don't take that medication, because at the end of the day, you want to not get blackouts.
Yeah, it's important to. I mean, like I said, this is my experience.
Gotta find the right stuff.
Exactly. It took me years to find what I'm taking now. There's so many classes of drugs and medications that it's important to always listen to your body's reaction to these things.
Always. And
also the way it's important sometimes to listen to how people that you can trust, how they perceive you while you're changing medication or while it's going into effect, or it takes sometimes somebody outside looking in, not to tell you what you need, but to just give you a reality check. And I use medication. Not everyone needs it, but I do believe that the most important thing is just to realize these things take time.
Yeah,
it really does. And unfortunately, like, if you need to be stabilized immediately, like, then go seek help. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of helping yourself, is asking for help.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great place to close for the episode. Silvia, first of all, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Before we go, where can the listeners find out again more information about you and about KózýKvöld? or quilt or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, like again, Facebook, Instagram, you can find me or the business. So.
And if you're curious how to spell it, it is the name of the episode. So it's perfect. And if you're looking. And to the listeners, thank you so much for listening. If you ever have any questions or comments or any topics that you want us to talk about on the podcast, send them to info@mvhtshow.com. That's info@mvht, like my voices have Tourette's, show.com. You can find out more information about me at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Dan Zarin Comedy. And you can find out more information about My Voices Have Tourette's at Facebook and Instagram at My Voices Have Tourette's and Twitter at MVHT Show. You look like you're going to interject in that.
No, Dan, do your thing. I mean, honestly, Voices Have Tourette's.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know.
Check it out, you guys.
It's not like this is a recording or anything. But we also have MVHTshow.com. If you're listening to this through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, feel free to like and subscribe. If you liked the episode, leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate the 5-star reviews. If you didn't like this episode, though, you can just leave a 1-star review and blame Trump or Obama or whoever you want to blame for this.
Or mind your business.
Or mind your business, yes. Mind your damn business and give us a 5-star review. But no, seriously, if you leave a 1-star review, just let us know what you didn't like so we can work on it, make it better for everyone. If you'd like to, if you do leave us a 5-star review and want to support the podcast, you can check out our PayPal at paypal.me/MVHT show. That's paypal.me/MVHT show.
Patreon? Do you have?
We do not have Patreon yet, but we are possibly going to do that for the future.
I really hope so, Dan.
I know. We should get on that. Back to the recording. So. This episode has been brought to you by Gamesla Studio, where we are recording The Secret Cellar, Iceland's first and only comedy club, and Smári's Volcano Sauce is the greatest hot sauces I've ever had in my life. Extra plug, check out KózýKvöld. And finally, thank you all so much for listening, and check out new episodes every Tuesday.